Lessons from the Classroom, Embracing Discomfort. Marguerite Lengyell with Melissa J.
Yeah, maybe now we'll move into talking about embracing discomfort, the second
Mm, yes. So embracing discomfort. Um, this was such an interesting one. It came up. I mean, it came out loud and clear that students were indicating that they did their best learning with moderate amounts of discomfort. And they came to understand that if they were completely comfortable, they probably weren't doing a ton of learning. So we spend a lot of time in our instructional space, and now it is a small program. So I think there are some contextual factors that allow us to really create and foster a space where we can develop a little bit of tolerance for discomfort, both within the student community and then relationally from instructor to student as well. And we came up with a simple acronym to help our students and counselors embrace this discomfort. Basically, talking about like how to sit with difficult conversations, especially in transcultural contexts. We find this coming up. And the acronym is LASER. LASER. L stood for listening. So this really was talking about listening without planning your response, right? Because sometimes when we are uncomfortable, we go right to that fight or flight or freeze space. And so we really came up with strategies for what it is to fully sit and listen and be present with the information you're receiving. The A was for acknowledge. So we spoke about, especially in transcultural conversations where you're being called in, to validate that other person's experience. And that doesn't mean you have to agree, right? But it's just showing that you can recognize their viewpoint. S stands for summarize. So this is an opportunity to reflect back to the person that you're having uncomfortable conversations with, reflect back what you've heard to ensure clarity and understanding. E is explore, so the ability to ask clarifying questions and deepen your understanding. On the R of laser, which is resist, and we spend a lot of time on this one.
Mm.
Um, I think as helpers, when we're told that something isn't sitting right or we haven't done something just so, we immediately want to fix or defend or apologize. And so we talk about this resist as instead just thanking for sharing and buying yourself some time and space to further reflect on what's coming up for you. Um, and I think resist can also be protective so that we don't go right into those modes and just spend some time unpacking and simmering, so to speak, with the information we've received. And S is self care. You know, I think, and Melissa, you helped me with this one too. I think this work that we do is hard. And I think that embracing discomfort is easier said than done. And I also think you can't pour from an empty cup. So I think that self care for yourself emotionally, spiritually, physically becomes so integral in your ability to tolerate discomfort. So we spend a lot of time in our instructional spaces talking about self care and having students really think about what that looks like for them. Because I think it's such a like term that's thrown around so much. So we spent some time unpacking that in both instructional and like clinical contexts as well.
I love how yeah, like how we care for ourselves in community and on our own. It's like that's what supports us in putting into practice laser. And yeah, coming up with that acronym is really cool. Like that's really helpful.